Today we're going to take a look at the hormonal response to food. I've got some resources here, like we've been talking about the general function of the endocrine system and how hormones signal and the difference between a peptide hormone and a steroid hormone. Now we're going to narrow this thing down specific to our problem at hand. We're trying to figure out how we can use food to prevent or alleviate some of these illnesses. But before we can do that, we've got to figure out how does the body respond on a hormonal level to the food we eat. We've talked about the digestive response, but now we're going to get into the hormonal response. Some of these resources here, and I've got our local objectives from the top of the page right here. Local objective, explain the roles and interactions of specific hunger-related hormones in response to the food intake. Some time, look at that. You should have already by now. These down here are some videos. I'm going to take you through these three right here because they're all from the same guy. He's a medical doctor. These are medical videos made for those who are going into med school trying to learn some things. And but he says some good things, and he does a good job. He can draw way better than I can. So I'm going to take you through some of this and take a look, see what he has to say about the pancreas, its role in producing insulin and what it does, and glucagon, because these are all going to play a role. But the pancreas has not only does it have a digestive role, it also has an endocrine role. And like I said, we're going to be focusing on the endocrine role of the pancreas.
Armando Hassurungan, biology and medicine videos.
Let's skip ahead here.
I talk about two important hormones, peptide hormones, insulin and glucagon, which are important in regulation of metabolism, for regulating blood glucose levels and even regulating other macromolecules, including.
So again, when we're talking about insulin, glucagon, all produced by the organ, the pancreas, as an endocrine function in response to these macronutrients, as you just mentioned.
Proteins and lipids. Now, where do insulin and glucagon come from? Well, if we zoom into this man's stomach, we can see here is a duodenum, which is part of the small intestines, the first part of the small intestines. And we also have the bloodstream all around this area. Now, right beside the duodenum, we have the pancreas. And the pancreas is also situated right below the stomach. The pancreas has many roles. One of its main roles is that it secretes digestive enzymes, which initiates digestion. And it does this by secreting it through the pancreatic duct into the duodenum. Another duct that attaches to the pancreatic duct is the bile duct, where bile comes from. And bile is also secreted in the duodenum. Another role the pancreas has, the main role that we're looking at, is that the pancreas also secretes two hormones, insulin and glucagon, into the bloodstream.
Okay, here we're getting into the endocrine function, the hormonal response. You just kind of quickly ran through the pancreatic digestive response, dumping those enzymes, those amylases, lipases, proteases, or peptidases, if you want to call them that, into the duodenum or duodenum, or however you want to say. I can't remember how you said it. But that's what its job is in digestion. Of course, you got the bile duct that leads in here and also dumps in the bile salts that help to emulsify or mix the fats in with the liquid environment and the chyme so they can be absorbed later on. Now he's going to go into the parts of the pancreas that respond by producing insulin and glucagon.
And I'm drawing insulin as an I and glucagon as a G, circled in blue here. And what they do, as I mentioned, is that they regulate metabolism. They keep the homeostatic conditions of metabolism. So to summarize, the pancreas secretes two important hormones, insulin and glucagon, crucial for the normal regulation of macromolecules, and therefore the homeostatic conditions of metabolism in our body, for blood glucose levels, for example. So if we zoom into the pancreas here, we can see what structures and cells the pancreas has, and also where these two hormones come from, insulin and glucagon. The pancreas consists of many exocrine-producing cells, which form the pancreatic acini. And these are the cells which synthesize and secrete digestive enzymes, the pancreatic digestive enzymes. And so they secrete it into the pancreatic duct, which then goes into the duodenum. But we're not looking at this. We're looking at the hormones. And also around this area, we have red blood cells here. Okay, but what we're concentrating on are the hormones, and these are secreted by cells which form clusters around the pancreas. And these clusters, or islets, are known as the islets of Langerhans. And within the islets of Langerhans are the hormone-producing cells.
Okay, so time out. The islets of Langerhans have the clusters of cells that produce these hormones. There's two types of clusters, two types of cells that, and each type produces its own hormone. Pay attention to what he says next.
And there are many types of hormone-producing cells, but we're mainly looking at three. And these are the alpha cells, which secrete glucagon, the beta cells, which secrete insulin, and the delta cells. So let's take a closer look at these three cells. So we have the alpha cells, we have the beta cells, and we have the delta cells. Now the delta cells make up about 10% of the hormones producing cells within the islets of Langerhans. And the delta cells secrete somatostatin. And somatostatin regulates secretion of other pancreatic hormones. That is its role, its known role. And then we have...
Okay, we're not going to focus on somatostatin so much. We're going to be focusing on the alpha cells and the beta cells. It does create or release somatostatin that's going to have an effect on other hormones like growth hormone, things like that. But we're going to be focusing on the alpha cells and the beta cells and what they do, what they produce.
The beta cells, which make up 60% of the cells within the islets of Langerhans. So quite a lot of beta cells in the islets of Langerhans. And the beta cells secrete two important hormones, insulin and amylin. Amylin has a role in slowing down the gastric emptying, so slowing down the emptying of the bolus or chyme now from the stomach into the duodenum. And then we have insulin, and its role is in the regulation of macromolecules, so a major role in metabolism.
So narrowing it down even more, out of these two hormones produced by the beta cells, we're going to focus on insulin because it is the one that reacts to the macromolecule concentration in your blood. The amylin, again, controls how fast or how long the food stays in your stomach prior to being released in the duodenum. But again, we don't need that right now. We need to focus on insulin because it is the hormone that responds to the macronutrient concentration.
And then we have the alpha cells, which make up 25% of the cells within the islets of Langerhans. And it secretes the hormone glucagon. And glucagon has a role in the regulation also of macromolecules and therefore metabolism.
So therefore, we also need to focus on glucagon as well, since it also has a role in regulating macromolecules and controlling metabolism. And it is a hormone, so we're going to be focusing on that. So the two hormones we're looking at are insulin and glucagon.
Now, glucagon and insulin are not the same, where one hormone promotes the uptake and reabsorption of macromolecules, the other promotes the breakdown of macromolecules. So now you can click on the links to glucagon or insulin to see its role in our body and how it controls metabolism.
Alright guys, that's kind of an introduction to the pancreas and the cells that are involved. Remember, we have those islets of Langerhans that has the alpha, the beta, and the delta cells. We're going to focus on the alpha and beta cells and the hormones they produce in response to the macronutrients. So again, I hope that helped. I'm going to take you in this next video through insulin and glucagon. As he mentioned at the end, you can click on those and take a look at it. But I'm going to walk you through that in this next video.